As you know, running for Senate very recently, the #1 issue in my state was the overspending by the federal government and the deficits we have and the amount of debt we have. You know the numbers. The government takes in about $3 trillion in tax revenue, spends about $4 trillion. And we paid almost $300 billion in interest on the federal debt. That number, as the chairman has shown, is going to grow to be larger and larger and larger. And if interest rates were to rise for any host of reasons, why, it could become an overwhelming number. At some point, we'd be spending more in interest than we spend on our military. As you all know, 2/3 of our spending at the federal level is automatic. We don't vote on it in the budget: Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, Highway Trust Fund, and so forth. Last week, the GAO released a report confirming that the Highway Trust Fund will be insufficient to meet projected obligations within 2 years. The same trouble looms shortly thereafter for other major important funds. Medicare Part A, in 6 years, runs out of money. Social Security Trust Fund becomes insolvent in 2034, so that's 14 years. And the question is, what are we going to do about it? A number of us, Senator Manchin, Senator Sinema, Senator Young, and I have proposed, along with a number of other colleagues, 5 Republicans, 5 Democrats, something called the Trust Act. It's been endorsed by Alan Simpson and Erskine Bowles. They made an effort and feel this is a good approach to pursue. And a number of organizations on both the right and left side of the aisle have made an effort in this regard. The idea is to establish for each one of these trust funds individually. So for the Highway Trust Fund, for Medicare, for Social Security Disability, for Social Security Old Age, for each one of them to establish a bipartisan, bicameral, if you will, rescue committee, and see if we can't come up with a bipartisan approach for making sure these trust funds and these programs are made solvent. Let me note that I know there are people on the right who feel that any give on our part is a mistake, and there are people on the left who feel any give on their part is a mistake. Let me note this. If we do nothing, then we will at some point reach a crisis where at that point we'll have to raise taxes like crazy, which would clearly impact the economy, or cut benefits that would hurt our seniors. That's unacceptable. Either one of those is unacceptable. The only other alternative is to work on a bipartisan basis. And if we just keep waiting and saying we're not going to do anything until we actually run out of money in these funds, Medicare, Social Security, the Highway Trust Fund, the consequence is very, very severe. So we're simply proposing that we get together, that we find a way to actually meet. We rarely have occasions to meet on a bipartisan basis in this chamber and across the Capitol with the House. So we're saying let's get the House Republicans and Democrats, Senate Republicans and Democrats together in small committees. If they can come up with a bipartisan solution, bring it to the floor in each chamber on a privileged basis for an up or down vote. And I believe that that is the only way we're going to prevent a circumstance where we face a crisis, a collapse in one of these funds, dramatic cuts in benefits or dramatic increases in taxes, either one of which would be unacceptable. So I am delighted to be able to hear from our experts today and hope that I'll be able to get all the members of our committee to say, yeah, let's get together, work as a group of committees to see if we can't solve these looming challenges. So with that, Mr. Chairman and Ranking Member, I appreciate your comments, appreciate the chance to make some comments along with you in the opening here, and hope to hear important information from our colleagues who join us in this panel.